Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Today we're talking about why high paying clients aren't what you need. And I know that sounds backwards, but especially coming from someone who helps people build momentum and build premium offers that attract high level clients. But stay with me because this one shift is what actually changes everything. So, most coaches believe their biggest problem is the type of clients that they're attracting. And they say things like, I need higher quality leads, or I need wealthier clients, or people just don't value coaching anymore. But here's the truth: high paying clients are not the problem, and they're not the solution either. High paying clients are the result. And when you chase the result without fixing what creates it, you just you stay stuck. You stay stuck in the same cycle with just more frustration. You post more content, you book calls, you explain your offer, you follow up, you convince, and then you wait. And even when someone does say yes, it feels harder than it should. And that's not because the right clients don't exist. It's because something upstream is broken. And here's what most coaches don't realize: high paying clients don't buy because they have money, they buy because they feel certainty. Certainty in you, certainty in the outcome, especially certainty in what happens next. So if your message requires constant explaining, if your offer changes every time someone asks a question, um, or someone, if your sales calls feel like convincing instead of confirming, then attracting better clients won't fix that. You just attract wealthier versions of the same objections. If that makes sense. If that makes sense. Tell me below in the comments. So this is where most people get stuck. They think, if I just had clients who valued me more, then this would work. But value isn't something clients bring with them. Value is something that your positioning creates. So let me say that again: value is not something that clients bring, it's something that your message communicates. And this is why two coaches can offer similar services and charge wildly different prices and get completely different results. One feels like a no-brainer, the other feels like a risk. And it could be the same market, same platform, different clarity. Okay, so the real issue isn't the clients, it's the system doing the talking before you ever show up. So most coaches rely on themselves to do all the work. They manually follow up, they manually explain their process, they manually reassure people, they manually answer the same questions over and over again. And that creates friction. And friction really kills premium sales. So high paying clients don't want to work harder to understand you. They want to feel like the decision is just obvious. So this is where coaching automation actually matters, not because it replaces relationships, but because it protects them. Automation isn't about sounding robotic. It's about removing uncertainty. It's about making sure that when someone raises their hand, they're guided instead of just dropped, right? So when they book a call, they're prepared instead of confused. When they're considering your offer, they're supported instead of left alone. And most coaches think automation is about tech, but it's not. It's about sequence. What does someone need to hear or see and understand before they talk to you? And when that's clear, the sales conversion changes completely. So instead of explaining, you're confirming. Instead of convincing, you're aligning. Okay. Instead of chasing, you're choosing. So this is why I say high paying clients, they aren't what you need. You don't need different people, you need a different experience, an experience that creates certainty before the call. And at a minimum, every coaching business needs clarity and systems in three areas. First, the first area, it's how you follow up. So if someone opts in, right? Opting in means you collect their, like, they click on something, they give you their information, their name, their phone number, their email. Okay, they opt into whatever you're offering. So if someone opts in and messages you or fills out a form, then you should hear they should hear from you immediately. So not hours later, not days later, not the next day, immediately, because speed really builds trust and silence just creates doubt, right? Speed gives them that assurance. And what is it, 400%, it's 400% more likely to have a meaningful conversation. If speed is king. Okay. The second thing is how people book and prepare for calls. So automated confirmations, reminders, and simple prep alone can dramatically reduce no-shows and unqualified conversations. When someone shows up clear on what the call is and who it's for, that dynamic, it just shifts. And the third thing is how people are onboarded once they say yes. So the moment someone commits, in this moment, you either reinforce certainty or you create buyer's remorse. Premium clients expect professionalism, they expect clarity and ease. So when those three areas are handled well, something really interesting happens. You stop hearing, I need to think about it. There's those three main objections. I need to think about it. I need to talk to my spouse, or I just don't have the time. I think those are the top three. And what happens then is you stop chasing follow-ups. You stop answering the same objections over and over again because, oh, no, the third one is money. It's too expensive, or I don't have the money. That's the third one. But because those objections were never about the price, though, typically, right? Um, it's usually not about the price. It's usually about the commitment level to getting the outcome, and then the certainty. Because if there's a will, there's a way, right? They'll find the money. If it's like a really dire thing, like if you're dying and you go to the doctor and you're dying, and they say you're dying if you don't, um, you know, stop drinking or something like that, and they don't want to stop drinking. Well, it's like, how much, what is it going to cost them? It could cost them their life, type of thing, right? And if they need help to stop drinking, then they don't have the money, they might find the money. Or let's say you're a relationship coach charges 10,000 to save a marriage, and people and the couple is like, oh my gosh, we don't have $10,000. And it's like, well, how much is it gonna cost to split all your assets? How much is it gonna cost for your lawyer? How much is it gonna cost for your lawyer? How much are the therapy bills for the kids gonna be for years to come, right? So they'll find the money, because so then $10,000 seems cheaper than all that, if they believe that they can, if that marriage counselor, marriage coach or whatever can help save their marriage. So they've got that certainty, they've got that clarity, and then they've got that certainty if that marriage coach explains it properly, right? And positions themselves, going back to the beginning of what we were talking about earlier. So it's really simple, right? And here's a simple example, actually. So instead of manually chasing someone after a discovery call, back to the main thing, um, your systems can automatically send follow-up messages, answer common questions, and clearly outline that next step. So not in a pushy way, but in a supportive way. So we're talking about onboarding. So that changes how the decision feels. So now let's just zoom in for a moment. If your content or your message and all your systems, or your systems and all communicate clearly, um, confidence and direction, high paying clients don't feel rare anymore. They feel normal. And if you're constantly saying, I just need better clients, I want you to consider this for a second instead. What if the clients aren't the problem? What if the real issue is that your business still relies on you to do all the heavy lifting? So, high level clients, they don't want to be sold. They want to feel led. They want to feel like they're stepping into a process that already works. And that's why most successful coaches aren't louder or more aggressive, they're clearer. And their systems do the pre selling before the conversation even starts. So, if this landed for you, I want to hear from you. Okay, drop a comment here and just tell me this. What do you think is holding you back right now? Is it the clients, or is it the way your offer is being communicated? Are you communicating your value effectively to the right people? Or is it the lack of systems, creating certainty before the call? So comment below, and I read and reply to every comment. So Um, you know, it's just, just comment there. And then if you want to, if you found this valuable, then click the like button, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. I think the next video is, what was the next video? The next video was the 5 top automation tools that you can use to streamline your business. So check that out. It's up here or up here. All right, I'll catch you on the next one.